So you had to really assess the situation very quickly. So it came into our psyche. So that's why we are very visual creatures, and we actually respond very quickly. And think about it. Have you ever not sized somebody up? You size people up as you walk down the street, every time you walk into a room, every time. And as they say, there's no chance to make a second first impression, right? So it's you have to style your way through it. So today I'm going to share with you, I have obviously a plethora of things I could talk about, but to get you all here tonight talking how to dress down 10 pounds probably did the trick, right? So you guys will just play with us, okay? We'll play with us. I'll talk to you after, okay? All right, so I'm going to give you some simple, quick, immediate ways how to dress leaner, okay? And I have my little womankin here, because why should you call it a mannequin if it has shape? Really, I call it my womankin.
Good point.
Okay?
Yeah.
So my womankin. All right, so number one, remember always, longer equals leaner. And I'll be showing you some of those things. Longer equals leaner. Lots of little ways and tips and tricks you can do that. Show your curves. Yes, show your curves. Wherever your curves are, play to them, okay? Play to your curves, because that's how the eye flows, and it works. Pay attention to the drape and the flow of your fabric. That is so important, the way it moves, right? The way it moves around you, swirls around you. You don't want anything that's going to stand out too firmly unless that's the look you're going for. But in general, if you want to look leaner and longer, okay, then you want the drape and the flow to actually enhance that. And then the last one is avoid bulk. So don't go with square cut stuff. If you want to look thinner, don't go with square cut. Cater to your curves. Cater to the fabric flow. So you can do something that's a little boxier, okay, but it drapes down around you. So it works. Okay, everybody was asking me. So I have this picture out here. This is the magic of shapewear, okay? Look at the before and after picture. Does that person not look 10 pounds thinner? Oh, yeah. From one side to the other? I'll pass it around so you can see it up close. Okay, so you need to harness the power of your undergarments. Some garments even...
What was the time frame? What was the time frame that you took that one? How many days?
How many days? No, it was moments. It was moments. It's clothes. It's clothes.
That's the way the clothes sit
The undergarment was changed from one picture to the next, and that made that tremendous difference. Okay? Some garments even now have a shapewear built into it, right? Things underneath, a little here, a little there. Even insets in some of the clothes. It just really works. Okay. And now I know a lot of us, even though it's summer, we're going, I will not wear sleeveless. So a little tip. There's something out there called a sleevey, okay? And it's a sheer little thing that you can put underneath sleeveless. So if you don't want to have, flapping arms or whatever you're concerned about, it's sleevywonders.com, and you put it under your sleeveless. It comes down to about here, and you've got that arm thing covered, but you can still wear those fabulous sleeveless dresses. Okay. Susie,
Yeah.
all different fabrics, but it's sheer. It's like a sheer mesh stretch.
Kind of like all those deep plunge things that celebrities or ice skaters wear that you think it's really low, but they actually have like a really
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, but it's a great little trick. You just pull it on over, and it doesn't take up any extra room. It doesn't fill up the armhole or anything. The next one, I know Susie Canny's not here, but a lot of us know Susie Canny, right? She is an extraordinary tailor. Okay, she's extraordinary. So the next tip for looking leaner and looking thinner is to get the power of great fit. So tailor your clothes. Ladies especially, tailor your clothes. We think ready to wear is ready to fit, okay? No. Ready to wear is ready to wear, but it needs adjustments. It needs to be specialized for you. Right? Why do celebrities look so phenomenal? Because their clothes were tailored to exactly their measurements and proportions. So it makes a big, big difference. Okay, so I'm going to refer to my little womankin here. So the next tip is to elevate your waistline. Okay, we always want to play to our waistline, but for women, this right here is the narrowest part of our torso. Okay, so you want to call attention to that. So you can see the drop line. So it's not up here, okay, and it's not quite at the waist. It's up at that sweet spot in between. So when you draw the eye up to that space and that narrowness, then it makes everything look longer, which equals leaner, right? So, and also use accessories. You know, if you like a wide belt, you can use scarves as belts, you know, any of that kind of stuff. Just really accentuates and brings better, even more attention to that small area. And little belts are great too. Michelle Obama made that quite famous, right? She took her waistline up right to the sweet spot. So, and a skinny belt does the same thing. Look at how fun. And it also gives you an opportunity to add a pop of color. And pop of color is always a good thing. I'm always adding pop of color. This summer I just happened to have a pop of color in my skin. Okay. Our next trick is to call attention upwards. So we always want to call attention upwards. So this one, I put on a beautiful sparkly necklace, right? So that calls attention upwards. Now, if you're large busted, okay, and you want to call attention upwards, you want to have something that's going to sit about here. Not a choker, but not long, all right? Because you want the eye and you want to create the upward attention here, and you want to have it in between the space of where your bust line is and where your chin is. So you want to bring it up, but don't choke yourself. You know, give it a nice little bit of length. And then also you can bring it up with some earrings, right? Or just a little bit of color. But you want, when you meet people and you're out, where do you want them to look? At your feet or your face? So draw them up. Use color, use sparkle, and sparkle is good all the time. You know, I'm sold on accessories. A larger necklace, a shorter chain would actually be, if you use a shorter chain, it would actually act as a minimizer. So if you bring it up a little bit. Okay, anybody remember Fran Drescher?
Oh yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll do my best New York for you. Okay, Fran Drescher says the bigger the hair, the smaller the hips. Okay, so big hair helps, and for those of us with curly hair, you know, kind of go for it, right? Okay, what's a good way to deal with muffin top? Okay, so a lot of us have it, you know, it's just one of those things. Gravity takes over, things start to happen. Okay, so ruching and peplums. So what's ruching? Ruching is this great little feature on the side here. See how it's ruffled a little bit? It's just got a little bit of gather, okay? So that's called ruching, and we like ruching because we don't know if it's a fold of us or if it's a fold of the fabric. So it's very concealing, right? And then the other thing that this particular top has, you can see it's kind of crisscrosses, right? So it's creating a diagonal. Diagonals are really one of our best friends because it takes the eye from here to here, right? Instead of from here to here. So diagonals on any level, and also creating V's. V's on either way are really important. We'll talk about a V on another one. And then peplums. Peplums are, you know, that little bit of skirt that comes around on the bottom of the top, and that's also a great way because that usually the peplum will start kind of up where that sweet spot is, and then come down a little bit further. So completely conceals whatever's going on underneath because nobody needs to know that. Okay, column of color, right? Column of color. Guys, this one's good for you too. Column of color is when you wear the same color top to bottom, okay? It doesn't have to be black. It doesn't have to be navy. It could be bone, it could be cream, it could be a strong color, it doesn't matter. But you give yourself that long look with one color going top to bottom. Okay, so I'm doing something that has that's body skimming, right? It's a lightweight vertical piece and trim ankle pants. So you see what happened? I stretched out. I do not have long legs, but you think I do tonight because of a couple of other tricks. But see what, and with the way the top peaks, it just sits right in there. With that curve, it's also giving me elongation. So you can trick people if you want to be taller, because longer equals leaner. Okay. And then the trim ankle pants, those are a really good option for elongation. Heavy wrists. Have you ever seen me without heavy wrists? Those of you that know me, never. Even in the swimming pool. Okay, no, I'm kidding. But heavy wrists, because that is the thinnest part of your arm, and you draw attention to there. So if you draw attention, so you know, everybody has their own type of heavy wrists. I happen to like big, chunky statement pieces, okay, but not everybody does. But load it up a little bit. Call attention to your wrist, because that's your hands, it's part of your expression, right? And also, once again, you're calling attention to a really lovely part of your body. Handbags are important too. It's kind of like the Goldilocks and the three bears, right? One's too big, one's too small, but one's just right, right? So try on handbags, because of the right drop on a handbag, the right size, and use it as a pop of color. It's a great way to use a pop of color, because certain colors, reds and corals and things like that, go with everything, and they stand out. Like tonight, I'm carrying a yellow bag. Yellow kind of goes with everything. It's summer, right? So yes, it's really important to try it on though, and you know if it fits right, right? If it doesn't stay on your shoulder, it slips off, whatever it does. Dark bottom trousers, they're a must. They're an absolute must. You can do contrast. If you do a dark bottom, you know, I've got an all over print on tonight, so that kind of is concealing in and of itself. But a dark bottom is always a great piece if it acts as your anchor, and then you put a color on top, do a contrast. You know, the old Audrey Hepburn look with the black capris and a little white turned up collar shirt. You're creating contrast, and with creating contrast, you're also stretching yourself out. And especially if you carry your weight on the bottom. So that kind of makes it, you know, it kind of fuzzes it a little bit. Bootcut jeans are another way of balancing. If you have wider hips, then you probably want to use a bootcut jean, because what happens is the outside of the hip draws a straight line to the outside of the bootcut, thereby creating a straight line, right? So if your hips are bigger and you wear a skinnier pant, it's going to take the eye in that way. Whereas if it goes straight up and down, once again, you're longer and leaner. And then with that also, it's also good if you put on perhaps a nipped jacket on the top. So a shorter jacket, you know, that nips in at the waist and just sits right at the waist. You can have another longer piece stick out the bottom of the jacket, because once again, you're stacking and that'll stretch you out. You want to create V's, so let me undress this a little bit. I had fun last night putting this on. It's like, okay, what's the order that I'm going to show this stuff? Okay, so here we are. We've created some V's, right? So on the bottom of this top, there's a V, and it's also asymmetric, and you've got the V in here. V's are great because that points up towards your face, right? And V's on the bottom are going to create an illusion that you're only looking down this section of yourself, so that the other two sides just kind of go away, because you're only looking at that one column down the middle. Okay, and then also a diagonal cut. I talked about that a little bit before, but a diagonal cut is a great look. It's a very confident look, and it also gives it a lot of interest. So a diagonal cut really helps you, you know, kind of pull it together. And it changes the viewer's eye, because it doesn't cut you in half, but it does actually, you know, kind of take them this way, and they're kind of, oh, it's sort of optical illusion. Cleavage. Should we talk about cleavage? Let's talk about cleavage. Okay. Oh, but no, I'm not talking about that kind of cleavage. I'm talking about toe cleavage. Have you heard of toe cleavage?
Yes.
No.
You must have heard of toe cleavage.
No.
Yeah. Well, a little guy by the name of Louboutin actually was the one who did the scientific research on that. So if you notice, all of Louboutin's shoes all have what we call toe cleavage. It's that little space in between your toes, and it shows when you put your shoes on. So my recommendation, if you want to look longer and have like one pair of shoes that works with everything, get one in your skin tone. So if you get a shoe in your skin tone, then it doesn't matter whether you're wearing brown clothes or black clothes or orange clothes, okay? Because you're matching your skin. So that one pair of shoes will take you all over the place without without having to, you know, have a bunch of different shoes. I mean, we're not
What's wrong
that
with
I
that?
would say, I mean, and Michelle's gonna help me organize